Hello, friends and enemies. Welcome to the End Times channel. My name is Miss, and I am the mayor of Wasteland City, your favorite post-apocalyptic politician. And today, we're going to explore something new together. As you can see, we here at the End Times have a lot of videos on post-apocalyptic things, most of all post-apocalyptic events and festivals, primarily the biggest post-apocalyptic gathering in the USA, Wasteland Weekend. Now, the folks at Wasteland World Inc., which is the collective that brings Wasteland Weekend to the desert every year, has been cooking up a new event, and the tickets are actually going to go on sale tomorrow morning. The event is called Neotropolis, and it will take place this April. Neotropolis is going to take place on the same stretch of desert Wasteland does, but it's going to be very different as Neotropolis is actually a cyberpunk event. I have a lot of thoughts personally on this, on the cyberpunk aesthetic and what genres it ties into, but I'm going to get into that later. For now, we're going to take a look at the website, learn all that we can about this exciting new event, and get up to speed on Neotropolis. As always, I have to be totally clear. I am in no way directly affiliated with Wasteland World Inc. Other than that, I'm a longtime attendee of their events and a tribe leader at Wasteland Weekend. My position as mayor is purely a community and theatrical one. I am in no way staff, so the opinions I express here are purely my own. And while I'm happy to offer insight and answer any questions about the community, it's always best to read the official event rules and get any official information you need from the Neotropolis and Wasteland Weekend websites directly, both of which are going to be linked in the description. So, without further ado, let's take a look at Neotropolis's official website. So, some of you might recognize the name Neotropolis, and that's actually because Jared Butler, who is one of the founders of the Wasteland Weekend event, he opened a pop-up bar in LA called the Neotropolis Bar. And I didn't get to attend it myself, but I've seen some photos. It was very cool. And that was sort of a preview of the event and what you could expect aesthetically from Neotropolis. If you look up Neotropolis Bar, there's still a lot of photos, videos and stuff regarding it if you're curious about that. So this is the full-on event, not to be confused with the Neotropolis Bar. So Neotropolis 2020. I'm not going to play the videos because I'll probably get flagged. Now, they're really pitching this as not just a cyberpunk event. I always call it a cyberpunk event, but it's supposed to be a cyberpunk sci-fi event. I'll get into that later. So, in April 2020, a new world begins. These amazing photographs are also taken by Adam Chilson, one of the other founders. Oh, look, there's his name right there. Okay, so Neotropolis, an immersive cyberpunk and sci-fi desert festival, takes place April 23rd through the 26th. So, Neotropolis, like Wasteland Weekend, is an 18 and over cyberpunk and science fiction desert festival from the same team behind Wasteland World Inc. Okay, so let's find out tickets, because they go on sale tomorrow and you don't want to miss out on these. Tickets will go on sale at 9 a.m. on January 28th. Purchase link will be available. Prices are $150 until February 14th, where they will be $180. Now, this is interesting because Wasteland Weekend tickets are about $180. The total when it comes to the taxes and stuff through Eventbrite, they're usually a little over $200. In the early days of Wasteland, there was a tier system where the earlier you bought tickets, the cheaper they are. And it was really cool. I remember there was a year where we got in for this was really early, you guys, but we probably got in for like 60 or 70 bucks. I could be totally wrong, but I remember they were way lower than they were. So you can get in on that 150 price if you get on this event early, which I highly recommend. So, major credit cards accepted. Please note PayPal is not an option with the Eventbrite payment. Oh, interesting. Okay, so don't rely on your PayPal. You're going to have to use your card. This is for all 4 days. There are no additional fees for camping or parking. We do expect this event to sell out, which I do think it will sell out, likely faster than our other event, Wasteland Weekend, sells out. I don't know about that. But as this event will be more limited in size. Oh, interesting. Tickets are $150. Okay. So this event is 18 or older. Typically, and this is all speculation, at Wasteland Weekend, you get, if you're 18, if you're under 21, you get a different kind of wristband than if you're 21. Because there's places that they serve alcohol and they're very, very careful about not serving minors. So, oops, I just hit my desk. I hit my desk in excitement. So it looks like this is going to be more limited because Wasteland boasts a very large population, but this might be a little smaller, a little more intimate. I don't know if it's because it's the first year they're doing this event, but that's kind of interesting. And I would actually very much enjoy that. I like the smaller events. So volunteer recruitment form applications are expected to start in January. So if you want to volunteer to help build the city, you can apply for that. And it looks like they're looking for performers. Please do not purchase a ticket if you plan on volunteering or performing. On the off chance you are not picked as a volunteer performer, you will still have time to purchase a ticket. And it's located in the same place as Wasteland. I noticed a lot of people asking the same question. There's nothing wrong with that. I know not all this information reaches everyone at the same time. But I noticed a lot of people kept asking where this is going to take place. This is in the Mojave Desert on the same site as Wasteland World Inc. owns that land there. So I speculate they'll host a lot of other events there. Tickets are not refundable. Okay, so you're going to get your tickets on Eventbrite and don't rely on your PayPal. Have a card ready. So set those days aside. Now, you know about tickets, but maybe you're still thinking, do I have money? Well, let's check. If you're familiar with Wasteland Weekend, this is going to make sense. If you're not, I'm going to have to do a little explaining. Because from what I understand, there's going to be a theme zone just like there's at Wasteland. And what that means is that there's a general camping area, and then there's a zone where everything has to be completely in theme, where when you walk into that zone, there's nothing that breaks the immersion. It's like being on a movie set. You're not going to find any normal tents and stuff there. And from what I've heard, the theme zone is smaller than at Wasteland Weekend. And I think there's a very good reason for that. So let's read. The theme zone is an immersive camping area for not fully themed factions. And factions are basically the cyberpunk version of tribes, from what I understand. The theme zone is an immersive camping area for fully themed factions. If you want to be in the thick of the action, this is the place for you. Take a few minutes to read through this page. Okay, so I'm going to read this and hopefully it doesn't cover absolutely everything I'm going to talk about. Actually, let's be smart. Let's read it first. Instruction on how to apply are at the bottom of this page. A major design element for Neotropolis is micronization. This is a shift away from the wasteland experience where the wide open spaces and sprawling camps are a part of the landscape. Neotropolis is a different experience, with smaller camps and a tighter, more compressed layout for an authentic urban aesthetic. Neotropolis is set on a far-off world, where ruins of a shattered high-tech city have been reclaimed by desert dwellers, criminals, corporations, and travelers from across the galaxy. Broken remnants of a once thriving city jut up from the barren landscape, surrounded by shantytowns, encampments, and slums. The theme zone of Neotropolis is home to a wide range of faction camps in all manner of size and varieties. Okay, so this is a very simplified map of how the theme camp area is going to work. They have them broken up here into categories. So if you're thinking of building a faction, aka a themed camp with friends, you're going to look at these and see which ones you think you fit into the most. So these are the descriptions of them. Mega Block 1. This is a multi-level city. So this is the entirety. This is what they're calling the theme zone, basically. At Wasteland, it used to be called Bartertown. Now it's called the Wasteland City, of which I am mayor. So Mega Block 1 is a multi-level city where small, fully themed camps can reside. Compact, interactive spaces with their own unique vibe and experience. Mega Block 1 is the largest mini-city encompassing a wide range of factions, vendors, and residents. So Mega Block 1 is the in-character name for the theme camping. And don't be put off by this. If you're watching this, just know you do not have to be a part of a faction. You don't have to be in the theme camping for you to attend this event. Just like at Wasteland, there is a big main city, but there's a lot of fun to be had, a lot of action even. outside of the themed area. And I think that if you're planning on going to this and then even going to Wasteland Weekend and you're planning on camping outside of the Mega Block or outside of Wasteland City, still do your best to theme your camp. There's no reason for you really not to. And there's a lot of very cool themed camps at Wasteland Weekend that are outside the city. So I'm hoping at Neotropolis, people also bring their A game when they are camping outside the city. So let's see what the little theme areas are and what they fit into. Faction outposts are smaller standalone mini blocks made of multiple individual factions that share a common theme. Neotropolis 2020 has several pre-built faction outposts, both official and independent. You can petition to have your faction placed in one of the official outposts or organize one yourself. Theme zone camping is ideal for those that want to do their own independent thing outside the MBI and faction outposts. These are assigned camping areas. These assigned camping areas offer plenty of space flexibility to build your own. Okay, so there's pre-made faction outposts that you can apply to get into, or you can go in the theme zone camping and build everything from scratch, it sounds like. So here's the basic main map. This actually looks pretty large to me. Well, these are 5x10. Okay. So there's also vendor camping. Interesting. Okay, so they're going to explain this further. Mega block modules. If you're creating your own structure and faction camp, it can be just about any size you want. For those applying for space inside Mega Block 1 and Faction Outposts, here are a few preset module space for you to choose from. So they have these spaces already set up for you that you can fill. I guess you can apply. They're pretty small, but I think you could do a lot with them theme-wise. It's actually better that they're small, I think. They're really, this is cool, the multi-level ones. You know, I didn't think that I would have time to build something in a theme, but now that I see the size of something like this, I kind of feel like I could. I'm trying not to be tempted to biting off more than I can chew here. 5.7 ground level. See, they're not that big, but the reason I think they're pushing this, which I do think helps the aesthetic, is they are, like they said, Wasteland is very spread out. It's a very large event. The camps are pretty big. There's a lot of open space for people to roam. There's honestly, and at least for my tribe anyway, I feel like there's less space management. Like personally, with the space that we had this year, I feel like we could have filled it out better. That's something we're working on for next year. But there's a lot of big open space, and that works for post-apocalyptic stuff. But as far as cyberpunk stuff and building a faux city, I think everything needs to feel very congested. Everything needs to feel very populated. Any kind of cyberpunk stuff and a lot of sci-fi stuff, actually, you see, it's all very condensed. The cities are really congested. So I think they're trying to replicate that. I don't think that. They pretty much said that. And I think it's going to lend to the immersiveness of the look. I think it's going to help people build something quicker because, well, I'll get into some of my concerns later. So these are some of the things these are like the pre-made structures you can apply to have your theme area in, or you can build your own, which is very interesting. So faction placement, guide power, and lighting. Neotropolis is a city that comes live at night, with streets lit by flickering over lanterns and the glow of neon. Whether you're creating your own standalone camp or living in the city, lighting makes all the difference. That goes for Wasteland too, by the way. Due to obvious safety concerns, generators are not, interesting. Generators are not permitted in the Mega Block 1. I wonder how that's going to work. Tight spaces, exhaust sound, and fire hazards make individuals running generators problematic. There are a number of battery-powered solar lights, USB lights, and low wattage options that are there for the inventive faction. Optionally, factions and vendors in Mega Block 1 can purchase a power drop for an additional charge and have access to 24-hour power provided directly to their space. That's pretty cool. This is something we're offering for the very first time. Applying for placement as a faction. Okay, so the first thing you got to do is download the factions placement guide. And please, if you're thinking of applying this, please read this whole thing. I'm not going to read this completely, but if there's something you're serious about, don't just listen to what I'm saying right now and be like, oh, I know everything you need to know. Actually, download this and find out what you need to do, because this is going to be a lot of work. I know I'm making it seem like it's not that big of a deal, but it's a lot of responsibility to have a themed camp. Um, at Wasteland, what you do is you apply. There's like a theme. There's like a form that you fill out. You explain what you bring to the event, what kind of space you need, etc. You provide pictures of your themed camp to show that you have it. Since this is a first time event, I think a lot of people aren't going to have photos of their themed camp. You should still strive to do that, but I think they're going to be way more restrictive on what they allow here because the space is so small. So you're going to read through this guide. You're going to answer questions. You're going to have to provide photos. It has layout templates that you're going to fill out to show how your camp is going to lay out. And you need to have the complete layout and paper filled out before you do this application. So don't just send an application with no photos and be like, oh, it'll look like this. That's something you should definitely have. And again, if you don't feel like you could bring your A game to this, don't apply for being a faction. It's not totally necessary. It's a lot of fun to be a part of the themed camp, but it's not totally necessary. I'm just featuring this because I know a lot of people were curious about it. So that just are like, oh, it's an extra party day and don't build anything. So don't be one of those people. So I'm going to read a little more of this and then we're going to move on because this is something that if you're interested in, I think you should read by yourself without me just skimming over all this stuff. What are the theme requirements for faction placement? A fully themed camp covers every visual aspect. What's the first thing people see as they approach your camp? Is there a signage that identifies your faction? What details catch the eye, draw people in? Camp decorations, nighttime lighting, signage, and interactivity with visitors is encouraged. Neotropolis is very much a nocturnal event, so attention to lighting is appreciated. What other criteria goes into the approval process? A willingness to work with Neotropolis staff and a positive attitude go a long way. Be willing to adapt to changes and roll with the unexpected. And the deadline is 10 p.m., February 23rd. So that's how long you have to apply for your faction to be in the Mega Block 1. So let's see what they say in the about this event. I think it's interesting that they're owning up to that. It's going to be pretty much a nighttime event. Immerse yourself in the world of awe. Okay. This looks like a small idea of what you can expect in these little themed camps. This is pretty cool. Look at this chick right here just chilling. Okay. Neotropolis is a festival put on by Wasteland World Inc., the people behind Wasteland Weekend and the Wastelanders Ball. We have 10 years of experience in the world of immersive festivals. 2020 is the inaugural year of this event, and we hope that it'll continue to grow and evolve for many years to come. It takes place on a large piece of private land in Edwards, California, in the Mojave Desert, Wasteland Valley, the same property that hosts Wasteland Weekend and other large events and film shoots. It's only a 20-minute drive from stores and services in the nearby California city, yet offers a 360-degree view of nothing but desert and hills with no modern civilization in sight to break your immersion. Our event requires everyone to be in costume. This creates an environment where all attendees are participants and no one is a spectator. That is very true. How much you want to involve yourself in the world is up to you. Some people come out to party and be part of the atmosphere, and some people get fully involved in the role play and LARP/lore, like your mayor here, aspect of the events. This event is strictly 18 and over, and thank goodness. If you're familiar with or came to this site looking for information on the Neotropolis Bar, the pop-up cocktail bar in Los Angeles, is a separate entity entirely. If you can't find the information you need on the site, there's the contact. Okay. So yeah, just like Wasteland Weekend, this is going to be an event that if you are choosing to attend, you must have a costume. There are no spectators. There are only participants, and you are a part of the immersion. So start working on your costume now because we are running out of time, not to scare you. But yeah, what's really cool about Wasteland World Inc. and about Wasteland at least, and what I expect of this event, is that immersive aspect that you truly feel like you're in another world because everywhere you look, everybody's a part of it. Everybody contributes to it. So please don't show up wearing like blue jeans and a Slayer t-shirt like that one girl in my 2016 video who got roasted. So I had to cut her out of the video. Don't be that person. Minimal effort. I'm going to talk more about cyberpunk costuming and stuff in a separate video. I have a lot of thoughts on that. Some of you might not agree with my thoughts on that, but we're going to find out. So this is an event that, even though you don't have to contribute to it by building a crazy camp or applying to be a faction, you do have to contribute to it by dressing up bare minimum. So let's see what's under the info. I like this website design. It's very simple. Vendors. Okay, getting involved. So we got vendors, we got performers, factions. So they're going to describe factions here. Let's see. Similar to the tribe system at Wasteland Weekend, which tribes are, of course, when it comes down to it, tribes are a group of people that you camp with. There are official tribes, unofficial tribes. There are tribes in the theme area, and there are tribes that are in the not theme area. Anybody could be a tribe. But to be like an official tribe, when I say official, by the way, I don't mean to sound like if you're not in the theme area, your tribe isn't legit. I just mean recognized themed tribes. You do have to apply to be in the city and such. Anybody can make a tribe. You can literally go to the event with 3 people that are friends and just say, hey, we're a tribe, and you'll be a tribe. But factions are the Cyberpunk's sci-fi version of that. So Neotropolis encourages attendees to form factions. These could be a few of your friends or a whole group of people you've only met online. I don't recommend that, by the way. That really bit me in the ass one year. It's up to you. But I'm just going to say right now, I'm not trying to contradict what they're saying. Please don't meet up with people for the first time with the intention of camping with them. One of my first early years at Wasteland, I recruited people to be in the death caps that I had only met online. I lucked out because 2 of them were really cool and are still my friends today. One of them turned out to be straight up dangerous. And having a tribe of people is a big commitment. You can split off from them if it doesn't work out, of course, don't overly commit yourself. But if you're planning on camping with these people for the entirety of the event, please get to know them first and know that you're safe with them and know that you can handle camping with them for that entire time. Because camping with a stranger for multiple days that you've only met online, who may have like mispresented themselves or you just didn't get to know on a deeper level, is a really miserable time. So be very careful if you're thinking of forming a faction. Give it really good thought that these are people you're going to be camped with the whole event. So anyway, it's up to you. But the idea of a faction is to create a camp together at the event. A faction is a group with a shared identity and story. Individuals who have come together and go all out with coordinated costumes, a group identity, theme encampments, and or vehicles. Some faction can be as small as 4 or 5 members, while others might be 30 or 40 members strong. So that's what factions are. I might make a faction. This event's going to be really interesting for me because I've been going to Wasteland for so long. I'm the mayor now, and I run a big tribe, so I have a lot of responsibilities. I really want to go to this event and experience it as a first-time attendee like I did my first year at Wasteland. I'm bringing a concept with me. I might recruit for a faction while I'm there, but odds are it will be just me, and I'm going to do a whole video on that that's separate. My concept's really weird, you guys. You're probably going to roast me for it, but I don't care. So, and I think it's very important to stress the shared identity. I feel like that's kind of being lost a little bit with the Wasteland tribes. I really like when tribes have a cohesive identity, like they dress similarly, they have a similar theme. And I think with Cyberpunk, that's kind of important. So, other frequently asked questions. Here we go. Do I need to join a faction or can I just attend this event solo? Come solo with a few friends or whatever suits you. Just don't come as Han Solo. Oh, Wasteland world. Joining a faction can make the experience much more enriching and be a great benefit to groups with cohesive ideas and vision. That's what's cool too. It's just going to be, I think, me and TJ this time, so it'll be interesting for it to just be us. Faction membership is not a requirement. If you're interested in joining up with an existing faction, check out our unofficial Facebook group, Neotropolis Central. The event is brand new. There are bound to be factions forming and wanting members. Yeah, so if you're on Facebook, Neotropolis Central is the main Facebook group for everything Neotropolis. I recommend joining it. You can get a good idea of the community there that's building. I'm actually a moderator there, and yeah, it's pretty cool. You'll get very inspired. How do we form a faction? You may already be planning to attend the event with a group of friends. Start there. Think about what influences your vision of a cyberpunk futuristic world and how you might survive in it. Movies, comics, video games all shape how we view futuristic worlds. A brainstorming session with your future faction mates is the perfect setting. Be sure to review the rules and suggestions on theme so that you're adding to rather than taking away from the Neotropolis experience. Come check out the faction and camp guidelines for more ideas on forming your own faction. Do we need to register a faction? No, you're free to form a faction and attend Neotropolis without official recognition. No application of paperwork, just form your own theme faction and show up. Can factions arrive early? No, factions do not automatically receive early access. See, that's the thing. You kind of have to prove that your camp needs the extra time to get early access. They don't want people just getting early access that you end up partying an extra day. It's really reserved for people who need the time to build. Can my faction get placed or reserve space for the event? Possibly, but placement is not common. And don't worry about that, guys. I saw people posting like concerned about camping space. When you arrive there will be plenty of space for you to camp. I've never had a problem with that. In all the years I was attending Wasteland, even like the most crowded years, before we had placement in the city, we never had a problem finding camping space. Don't worry, it's a large place. You will find space. You don't need to reserve it. I guarantee you'll be absolutely fine. And honestly, being far out there, like the very first year we attended, 2013, was actually really cool because the walk back to camp was like an adventure. Okay. So those are the frequently asked questions. There's a couple more things I want to check out here. Theme. Did we already check this out? Because I want to see if they have theme guidelines. That's my buddy right here. That's Team Rocket. I'm going to be doing an interview with her next. She's the Wastelander of the month. Look how cute and little she is. And then she's got these big ass guns. Okay. So Neotropolis is an original cyberpunk science fiction world. Okay. I want to stress this right now so you guys see this. The one hard fast rule we have is no recognizable characters. That puts me at so much ease. Okay. However, it's going to be very difficult. This is a sci-fi and cyberpunk themed event. It takes place on another planet in a far-flung corner of the galaxy, but one where elements of Earth and other planets have been dumped by a mysterious anomaly. Ooh, interesting. We're getting some story stuff. A story explaining more details on this will be unfolding on this website and on other social media, so keep checking back. I'm going to read that story here once it unfolds. For the first year, we are trying to give some broad leeway in terms of what people can and can't wear. We'd rather see what you come up with rather than what we give a long list of do's and don'ts for costuming. Some of what will invariably come in a year or two once we see what's going once we see what we get out there and who may have pushed things too far in a particular direction. Okay, so I think they're still trying to find their style a little bit. As with all of our events, our goal is immersion. We want you to feel like we are all living on the same made-up world. However, since this is a world where different planets and technologies have been cobbled together, there will certainly be some stark differences in people's looks. The one hard fast rule is no recognizable characters. What does that mean? It means no obvious characters from a particular movie, comic book, a game, etc. No Darth Vader, no Deckard from Blade Runner, no anime character that people will recognize. The emphasis here is an original character. So no stormtroopers, Mandalorians, Starfleet uniforms either. That said, if you want to take inspiration here and there, like this guy that's clearly wearing a Mandalorian helmet that's modified, from known properties for your outfit, or even do a full cosplay character that fits your theme but isn't recognizable, except for maybe a select few hardcore fans, that should be fine. If you'd like to wait for a more detailed backstory to be released to base your costume on, and I recommend that, by the way, you guys. In the meantime, here's a quick reference list of themes that should be applicable. Every sci-fi movie, book, game, but it's a star. Okay, so here's the stuff they're going to say. So this is like some of the hard, fast rules of the world. Yes, there's space travel. Yes, there's cybernetics. Yes, there's net running. Artificial intelligence, yes. Robots, yes. Big corporations, of course. I think that's a staple to make anything cyberpunk. Gritty street level gangsters. Aliens, yes, but try to be careful with this one so it doesn't get too goofy. I was going to be a really stupid alien at first, so I'm glad they said not too goofy. Lasers, phasers, and plasma guns. Bullets, yes, but we mean props, no actual firearms. Spaceships and mech suits, yes. This is a desert planet. It's also a far-flung outpost. There will be a certain amount of dirt, certain amount of distressing to outfits. No, it's not Wasteland Weekend, and not everything needs to be post-apocalyptic style and have more dirt, but some weathering will definitely help make it feel like this is a dirty planet at the end of the universe for a few days. Beyond that, use your imagination. Okay, so I think we've pretty much covered this. So I have a lot to say. All right. So I have some concerns, and I'm glad they addressed a lot of them. I have some questions, concerns, and curiosities. Number one, my first concern when I first heard this event was announced was they labeled it as a cyberpunk and sci-fi event. And fun fact, I used to be deep in the Star Wars costuming world. I was like an unofficial Mando merc, and I was really deep into that stuff. And I've seen many sci-fi events straight up become Star Wars events. And that is because if you give any leeway for sci-fi stuff, Mandalorians show up. And as much as I love Mandalorians, as much as I love Star Wars, there's already a shit ton of Star Wars events, and I don't want to attend another one. As soon as you give leeway for sci-fi, and as soon as you give leeway for any Star Wars stuff becomes a Star Wars event. Take my word for it. I've seen it happen. I'm so relieved that they said no recognizable characters and that they pointed out Star Wars. Do I still think there's going to be a shit ton of Mandalorians showing up? Yes, because people who are into Mandalorians like I were into, we're not courteous about how much they were into Mandalorians. And oh, you can hear my ancient phone ringing in the background. I actually have an old rotary phone in here. I'm sorry, you guys. So I'm really glad they said that. I'm a little disappointed that I won't see any judges. It didn't directly mention them, but that's like staple Cyberpunk stuff. I was hoping to see some judges. I'm kind of glad they're not. The non-recognizable character thing I think is very important, and I think having a ban on commercial characters is going to help this event get an identity of its own and develop a culture of its own, which I think is really cool. I'm glad about that. One of the other concerns I had was the desert aspect of the world combining with the city aspect of the world that they're pitching. It's really difficult that it's labeled cyberpunk and sci-fi because I feel like sci-fi is extremely broad, whereas cyberpunk is an extremely narrow genre. Cyberpunk is pretty much exclusively related to dystopian genres. Cyberpunk is sci-fi, but it's also kind of post-apocalyptic. Cyberpunk implies that things are congested, things are dirty. The punk aspect of it usually is that it's a lot of lower class people struggling in an upper class system. It's a lot of factions that are run by illegal gangsters and stuff. It's a dirty, nitty-gritty world when it comes to cyberpunk stuff. And a cyberpunk aesthetic is really, really hard to define. It's very broad. Personally, my idea of it is very narrow. But that's a whole topic for another video. There's not a lot of guidelines on what is and isn't cyberpunk, other than the city and the setting itself. So the fact that it's in a desert is interesting. I was concerned about them and their ability to build a facade of a city, of a mega block in this kind of landscape. However, seeing a lot of the photos, and I didn't even show you all the ones I've seen so far, I'm pretty blown away. If anyone can do this, it's the people at Wasteland World Inc. I'm really excited to see what they bring to the table. It's extremely impressive that they're even taking on this. I think it's a lot more ambitious than a post-apocalyptic setting in many ways. A lot more ambitious to build. I am concerned about the electricity thing, because like they said, it's going to come alive at night, and I think that's going to be amazing for photos. I think that's really going to sell the event and everything. I feel like this theme is really reliant on having access to electronics, having access to lights and such. And since there's no generators and everything, I'm very concerned that there's going to be a lot of people who don't have experience in this. Not the staff, I have faith in them, but a lot of people are going to be trying to build camps that are over ambitious. They're going to be building stuff that's possibly unsafe. Like I had a fever nightmare a couple nights ago that I was at this event and one of the camps just caught on fire and like lit up a block. And if that did happen, I know that people will be very capable of taking care of that, but I'm very concerned because people are getting really ambitious with these builds, people that don't really have experience in this. And I'm just worried about people cutting corners, and you're in a desert, you're exhausted, and maybe by the third day they're just like, I'm not going to double check that these things are put together right. And that's the only thing I'm concerned about. It's kind of hard to F up a post-apocalyptic camp. There's a lot of elements to it. You can do it at any skill level. However, I feel that a cyberpunk camp requires a much more advanced skill level. And I feel like a cyberpunk costume in a lot of ways demands a higher skill level. So I'm really excited to see what people bring to this. I think that their theme rules over time are going to become much more strict. They're just going to have to, because there's a narrow line between looking like a sci-fi slash dystopian and cyberpunk person and looking like a raver from the early 2000s. Not everything that's LED, I think, applies as being cyberpunk. As a matter of fact, in my opinion, a lot of cyberpunk outfits don't have any of that on it, but that's a whole other topic that I'm trying to skirt the line on here. Those are my concerns. Really impressed by what they're bringing. I cannot wait to see it. I just think this is a way more ambitious project in a lot of ways than Wasteland. I'm excited to see how the lore is going to unfold because this is all new. I think they're going to have a bigger problem with recognizable characters coming in than they do at Wasteland, just because it's a broader genre, especially including sci-fi. So they're going to have to be very vigilant about that. I think there's going to be a lot more theme policing. There's going to have to be. And the other thing, I guess, is the daytime. It's going to be, because this is an event that like they even admitted is going to come alive at night. So I'm curious to see if this is going to be like a lounge about kind of day, or what people are going to do to fill the day that's going to be different from Wasteland. Because my Wasteland experience during the day is really like checking out vendors and hanging out at camp. And I think that's probably going to be kind of the same thing I'm doing at this event. But I want it to be different. I don't know. I really hope that people are creative about what they offer during the day and not just at night. Yeah, and I think I'm going to have to bring different things. I might have to do a separate packing video because I think this is going to require a lot of different things for me to bring to the event than my normal Wasteland pack. I do think that if you're attending, make sure that you're still keep in mind you are camping in a desert. This is taking place in April, so it's probably going to be a lot colder. I'll have to check the weather and everything to verify that, but just make sure that you still dress very warmly. You bring plenty of water, that kind of survival stuff. Yeah, I'm really excited about this, actually. I will admit, when this event first got announced, I was like, I kind of gave it a pass. I was like, I can't afford this. I still can't afford this, but I was like, I can afford this. I'm not going to go. Because to be perfectly frank, I'm not as passionate about this genre as I am with post-apocalyptic stuff. I love post-apocalyptic stuff. It is my favorite genre. Like I said, I used to be into Star Wars. And I really like cyberpunk stuff, but I like more of a dystopian kind of Blade Runner thing. And I know that's a very niche, and my passion for post-apocalyptic stuff just runs way deeper. My cyberpunk concept I'm gonna be working on for this is a little bit more silly. I always bring something silly. Even my Wasteland persona is pretty silly, actually. I'm like a living cartoon, but I think it's going to challenge people's creativity a lot more in a lot of ways than the post-apocalyptic stuff. So that's it for now. Let me know what you think about this event. Let me know if you're going to be attending, if you have what you're most excited about, if there's anything you're concerned about. Let me know how you feel about this event and its whole announcement. And tonight, I'm going to be doing an interview with the Wastelander of the Month and my mayoral cabinet, so stay tuned for that. But that's about it for now. You guys stay safe, stay hydrated, and I'll see you at the end of the world.